Hello, welcome to the video on Application Packaging Course Introduction. I am Arjun from AppRepack Technologies. In today's session, I will take you through the basic idea of what is application packaging, why is it being implemented, and what are the benefits of it, and what do you learn from this course of application packaging. First, to start with, what is an application? It's nothing but a software program designed to perform a task. The different kinds of software programs that we use daily are Microsoft Office, Adobe Reader, Google Doc, Communicator, etc. Each application performs a specified task or a particular task. And what is a package? Package is nothing but a bundle of set of items. What is a application package? A application contains files, folders, registries, shortcuts as resources. All these need to be bundled into a single package, and we refer to it as application package or a software package. Why to package an application? So how do we put them together, all the files, folders and registries onto a machine? If it is not packaged, it is really difficult to install a software onto different machines. So automation, consistency are two of the benefits that which can be achieved, say, using application package or a software package. As we move on, we will come to know more benefits of implementing application package. Now let's see how a typical software installation will look like. For example, let's say Microsoft Office, which is a familiar application we want to install. The method one here is to put the Microsoft Office CD or DVD into the DVD-ROM and start installing by running the setup.exe. Another method is to download the Microsoft Office setup from the Microsoft website and run the setup.exe. When the user runs the setup.exe, it will display few dialogues or the windows which require user input. Something like it asks for the product key or the license key. The user has to provide the license key and then click continue. Next, it displays the license agreement terms. They are to be accepted, and only once accepted the user can continue with it. On the screen you can see the different features of the Microsoft Office application like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Visio and Access. Few users may need all of the features and few users may need only a couple of them. So here the features can be enabled or disabled. The user input is required on this screen as well. User has to select or deselect the features. And here the path of the installation. See, program files, Microsoft Office is the default location where Office application is installed, and it can be changed by using the browse button. So user can change the path of the installation. Even here user input might be required, and on the screen the user has to provide the information, name and organization. Even on the screen user has to provide the input for the application. Finally, when user clicks on the button install now, it starts installing. Till this point of time, user has to provide the input or user interaction is required for the application. So let's assume the installation of the same Microsoft Office application on, let's say, 1000 machines. It's very impractical for the administrator to go to each and every machine and provide the input to install the Microsoft Office, because in organizations the desktops or laptops would be spread across different locations across the globe, and a user or the administrator cannot go to each and every machine physically to install a software. So there should be a automated way of achieving the installation of softwares in large enterprises. All the machines, desktops, laptops in an organization are connected through a network. So there will be some set of servers which hold the software packages, and the administrator should be able to install the software packages remotely onto n number of machines at a given point of time within the less time frame and with no user interaction. That is a task ahead for us. Now, how to achieve this? How an administrator can install a software without user interaction? How can he install a software to n number of machines at a given point of time? For example, today I should install Microsoft Office to 10,000 machines within an hour. If Microsoft Office application takes 15 to 20 minutes to install on a single desktop, you can imagine how much time it takes to install on 10,000 machines. But the installation of Microsoft Office application should be completed in 1 hour on 10,000 machines. How to achieve it? That's a task. Here we implement packaging of applications. Packaging of applications is nothing but creating Windows installer files, the MSI files. Here we will see why application packaging. Making mass deployments easier. Mass deployments is nothing but targeting thousands of machines at a given point of time to install a software. And automated installations without user interaction. The software packages that are developed doesn't need any user input. They will be installed automatically. Sometimes a progress bar might be displayed to the user so that the user can see the status of the installation, and sometimes user doesn't know anything or doesn't even know that some software is getting installed. Everything happens in the background, that is in a hidden phase or in a hidden state. The next is to have robust desktop environment. This is nothing but when packaging is implemented, the administration team and the help desk team will have a good control of all the desktops and laptops in an organization. If packaging is not implemented, a user can download and install any software that he wants. So the administration team will not have any idea of the softwares and the applications that were installed. It's very difficult for the help desk team to support the laptops and desktops. They may not be able to know why the issues are occurring in an environment, why an application is not working So when packaging is implemented, all the softwares that are present in an organization will be known to help desk team, and any issues that might arise of these software packages, they will know before the issues occur, so that they will be able to fix very promptly. Okay. The next is simplifies application setup and maintenance. This is again related to the administration and help desk team. If any user reports a problem with an application, help desk team will be able to fix and close the issues very quickly. And also, whenever required, the help desk team can contact the vendor support to overcome any problem with the application. And maintenance of desktops and laptops is also very easy, because the administration team will know what applications are installed on which desktop or laptop. So the maintenance is also very easy there. Finally, the total cost of ownership for organizations. By maintaining high, stable, and secure desktop environment, the cost of operating and maintenance of the desktops gets reduced drastically, finally consuming less cost for organizations. So this is why packaging is implemented. What are the problems with legacy installers? Legacy installers are nothing but those set of files which contain extension .exe, the executables. The executable files are called as legacy installers, and the .msi files are called as Windows installers. So now here, what are the problems with legacy installers? Destabilizing the OS, it's nothing but operating system and other applications. So the developers who create the legacy installers might not have good knowledge on Windows internals. So sometimes when a application is installed, it might corrupt the operating system. You might have observed a blue screen error message. It might have occurred because of a software that is installed on your machine. You might not know the reason, but internally it happens. And sometimes when an application is installed, some other application might not work. The end user doesn't know why it has happened, but internally when a software is installed, it might corrupt the operating system, or it might corrupt other applications which were installed. So that's one of the problem with the legacy installer. And poor admin experience. Admin experience is nothing but the administrator has to physically go to each and every machine to provide the input to install a software. With legacy installers, it's very difficult to automate the process of installation and capture all the configuration settings and user inputs into a executable. So that is another problem with legacy installer. Poor development experience. For creating legacy installers, programming tools are used, something like Java or .NET, or it could be anything. For instance, let's say a application installs 5 files and 3 lines of code is required to install a file. So altogether 5 into 3, it's 15 lines of code is required to install a software, and a reverse logic of 15 lines of additional code is required to uninstall the software. So altogether 30 lines of code is required to install a simple 5 files software. But coming to the MSI and Windows installer files, we don't need to write any code here. All we need to know is to know how to use the packaging tools. We're going to see what are those in the next few minutes. So that's another problem with legacy installer. Next, the benefits of application packaging is nothing but what are the advantages that we get by implementing application packaging. Consistency, as I said, when we have a secure, stable, and robust desktop environment, which is nothing but it's a consistent, or the organization desktop environment is consistent. Next, customizing application installation. As I said, we can automate the process of installation, which is nothing but customizing the application installation. All the configuration settings, user requirements, and any other enabling or disabling the features and shortcuts can be embedded inside the package, and the output package, once the installation is triggered, doesn't need any user input. That is nothing but customizing application installation. The next 3 points, advertisement, self-healing, and rollback. You might not be able to understand the meaning of these at this point, but I will explain you in a layman perspective. Advertisement and self-healing, they are interrelated. For example, let's say there is a company which manufactures a product X, but the product X has to be sold to the customers. Who are the customers and how do they come to know that there is a product X that is existing? The manufacturing company will try to advertise the product X through newspapers, televisions, radio, etc. Then the customers who are interested will purchase the product X. In the same way, application is not installed on a desktop, but a shortcut will be present on the desktop. When the user wants it, he will run the shortcut. At that point of time, only the installation will happen and then application will be launched successfully. That is advertisement. And self-healing is nothing but whenever any files or resources of an application are missing on a machine, it will try to restore the missing resources and then run the application. So these concepts will be dealt deeply in the regular classes of the course, but at this point just a basic overview of it. And rollback, this is another good feature of the MSI. Let's consider there is an application which installs 10 files and it's a legacy installer, nothing but it's a executable file. After installing 6 files, there is an error in installation. Then what happens is the installation will get cancelled and an error message will be displayed to user. But the 6 files which were installed till that point of time will reside on the machine. They are of no use, but still they will be present on the machine. Take the same scenario into the MSI files. If a MSI file installation is failed, an error message will be displayed to the user, but the files which were installed till that point of time will be removed from the machine or will be deleted from the machine. That is nothing but rollback. So that's a nice feature available in MSI. That's by default. So these are the additional benefits that we get by implementing application packaging. Now let's see what are the different package types that are available and which of these we would be using in our day-to-day activities. The first is manually authored MSI. Sometimes when you try to download a software from internet, the file you might get is of setup.exe or setup.msi. That means the vendors or the manufacturers of the application sometimes releases the applications in the form of MSI. That is called as a manually authored MSI, also called as vendor MSI or vendor supplied MSI. The developers know how to create the application in the form of an MSI. They know what files are to be installed into which location, from where they have to get those files, all that. So manually authored MSI will be the duty or the job of the developers or the vendors or the manufacturers. If Microsoft releases communicator in the form of an MSI, that is a manually authored MSI. It's manually authored by Microsoft. Adobe releases Adobe Reader in the form of an MSI, which means Adobe Reader MSI is manually authored by Adobe. So we are not going to create any manually authored MSIs because we are not the developers of the applications. Next we have is repackaged MSI. Repackaged MSI is nothing but the application which is in legacy format, that is in a exe format, is converted into MSI format. That is called as a repackaged MSI. This is our main day-to-day activities. Whenever we get a request which is of legacy format, we have to convert it into MSI format, and we call it as a repackaged MSI. The third is tailored vendor supplied MSI. If the application package request contains a MSI, you are given with an MSI and you are asked to do package. Then the MSI that is given to you is called as vendor supplied MSI or vendor MSI. For example, Microsoft releases communicator in the form of an MSI, Adobe releases reader in the form of an MSI, Skype releases Skype file in the form of an MSI, and so on. So these are called as vendor MSIs or vendor supplied MSI. For vendor MSIs, we are going to create something called as transform, and we call it as a tailoring. The process of creating the transforms is called as tailoring or tuning. So this part is also part of our daily activities of application package. And the final one, scripted installation. There is a limitation on Windows operating system, that is only one MSI installation is allowed at any given point of time. Two or more MSIs cannot be installed simultaneously. What if an application contains multiple MSIs? How do they get installed? So for that we have to create few scripts, and that's the reason we call it as a scripted installation, where the script holds the logic to install multiple MSIs one by one in a sequential order. So only when an application contains multiple MSIs we have to go for the scripted installation. Otherwise, repackage the application into MSI or create transforms using tailoring method for vendor supplied MSIs. Second, third, and fourth are the activities that we perform in application packaging or repackaging. And the first one is out of order scope, that is manually authoring the MSI. Let's see how a application installation will look like if it is a non-packaged application. User is trying to install a non-packaged application. That's a setup file. It's a executable. You can see the extension of the file. It's .exe. User triggers the installation by double clicking it, and you can see the dialogs. This part is called as dialog, where the user has to provide the input. So the user has to click next here, or he can choose the path of the installation. He can change it. Here, user has to select the options that are required for installation. Many users know what application they need, but they do not know what are the options that are to be chosen for the installation to complete. If the options are not selected properly, the application installation may not be as per the user requirement. So the user might get confused here. He's trying to choose one of them. Once the user clicks the install button here, the actual installation of the application starts. Till this point, it is gathering the inputs provided by the user. That's how a non-packaged application installation will appear. Now let's see how a packaged application installation will appear. The packaged application is the MSI file, and the command to run the MSI file is inside the install.cmd file. So the administrator simply triggers the install.cmd and wait for the installation to complete. Installation is started. You can see the status of installation with the progress bar. User doesn't need to provide any input. All the configurations, settings, options to choose, everything are embedded inside the MSI file. User can simply wait for the installation to complete. Okay, the installation is completed. To verify whether it's successful or not, just launch the shortcut and ensure that it's working perfectly without any problem. So the user is trying to launch the shortcut. It launched perfectly, so there is no problem with the application. And that's it. That's the end of installing a packaged application. Okay, here we are. Packaging tools. What are the tools that are available to package an application? The first is Admin Studio Install Shield. It's a tool from a vendor called as Flexera. Admin Studio. It's a suite of applications, out of which Install Shield is a MSI editor. Install Shield is also available separately and also available along with Admin Studio. So here we are going to use Admin Studio for packaging. And another application is Voice Package Studio. As of now, it's an outdated tool, but before 2009 or 2010, Voice Package Studio is a major tool for packaging. So the only tool that is available in market right now is Admin Studio, which contains Install Shield. That's going to be the only tool for packaging in large enterprise organizations. That's it. It's an end of course introduction. You can find my contact details on the screen, my email address, contact number, and website. You can refer to the website for any information on different courses that we offer: packaging, virtualization, software deployment, etc. Let's see the course contents and what are we going to cover in the actual course. To start with, the first 2 to 3 sessions will be on the basics of Windows internals, what is Windows installer, and operating system basics like directories, registries, shortcuts, ODBC, services, etc. The next is hardware and software requirements. I'm going to provide you all the softwares, tools, etc. for practicing application packaging at your end, that is on your laptops or desktops. All the softwares, tools, applications, documents would be provided to you. Along with that, assignments for each and every session that I deliver, there would be an assignment for you to practice. It could be a reading assignment or a practical assignment to work on some of the example applications that I give you. Then start with the process of packaging. These are purely technical terms at this point you might not be able to understand, but as you go on with the codes, you should know all these covered. Pre-validation, Admin Studio dealing with tools, repackager, tuner, install shield, and within the install shield, installation designer. Then working with the MSI tables, what is the information that will reside in which table. So all those things will be covered, and once a package is generated, how to install and test it, what are the different commands and switches available to install, uninstall, repair, self-healing, transforms, MSI, exec switches, log file generation, administrative installation, and so on. Testing, how to test the software package, what are the different ways and how to overcome the problems and ensure that package behavior is equal to the source behavior. Custom actions as nothing but kind of actions that we can run inside MSI. So in detail, we're going to see what are those custom actions, and VB scripting, which is a primary scripting tool used for custom actions. So basic overview of web scripting would be taught, and commonly used tasks to create VB script would be shown to you. Major upgrades and minor upgrades, what are the upgrades actually? For example, let's say there is a application of version 5.0 which is already packaged and installed on all the desktops and laptops in an organization, and recently the same application of higher version, let's say version 6.0, is released by vendor. When you're packaging 6.0 and when finally the package is ready to install on thousands of machines, having a application of 2 different versions is of no use for the organization. It's like consuming the cost for having both application licenses purchased. So instead of that, when you're packaging the higher version, it should automatically uninstall the lower version and then install the higher version. That is called as major upgrades and how do we implement those major upgrades, we will be seeing in detail inside the course. Troubleshooting, this is the most important and difficult task in packaging. What if the package doesn't work as expected? Where to search? What is the problem in that package? How to identify the problem and overcome it? So those tips and tweaks would be taught. We are going to use some set of tools which are not packaging tools, but we make use of these tools in packaging. FileMon, RegMon, ProcMon, Picture Trigger, Orca, some comparison tools like XMDiff and Beyond Compare. So all these would be taught in the course. As I said, I'm going to provide all the softwares, tools, examples, and assignments for you to practice at your end. The training will be totally practical oriented. It's not like reading through a document or going through a website where it contains a lot of information, but it will be totally practical. I would be teaching you. So most of the sessions would be hands-on for you to practice with the example applications. This completes the course contents discussion. Thank you for listening.